Hello guys. Welcome to Top Anime Sensei. This video is the part 3 of chapter 5 after the festival. So if you have not watched the previous parts, then please go check them. The links are in the description. And if you like the video, please subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. So without any further delay, let's start. What nonsense. By what? Your own will? How dare you say something this arrogant? It's not arrogance at all. Everyone here has united to head towards the same goal. And in the end, there will only be one outcome. I'm simply part of our momentum. I tried to make it sound nice. But in reality, I did put what I personally wanted on priority and to make them into reality. That's why I honestly couldn't deny it when he called me arrogant. But nonetheless, I still managed to argue back, sounding all justified. I also wanted to build an equal relationship with the Western State Council. But the deal's off if they try to suppress our nation in any way. We don't really need to play along with them as long as we trade through the Freedom Association. Is that understandable to you? Besides, even if we needed to, we could always just make an exclusive deal with countries such as Bloomond or Dwargon. We only had to make such deals with countries we trusted. We also had plenty of tricks up our sleeve, so there's no need to panic. We could also just develop our country and raise our influence until countries willing to trust us stepped forward. This thought had solidified in my heart. I understand. Then allow me to be the bridge to connect your nation and the council. It seems that there has been a grave misunderstanding, but I still hope to be at least of some use to you, Your Majesty Rimuru. You sure tried your best, Duke Muse. Seriously though. Had you decided to stand down early on? I didn't plan to say what I have to say now. I can't really have Muse-san as my intermediary. Since you've lost the power to do such a thing? What? Duke Muse was shocked by my words and wasn't able to react for some time. Since the whole ordeal has already concluded anyway, I didn't want to say this to his face directly. But at this point, I suppose explaining things thoroughly to him would be a form of mercy. Every reporter in this room will write about this incident in their respective nation. The content will be that there was a secret power struggle behind the founding festival of the Monster Kingdom, which has to do with the payment for the merchants. They will make sure of the facts and write what must be very interesting articles. Duke Muse was completely baffled at the moment. Upon thinking what would happen later, his expression looked dimmer and dimmer. This was precisely why I didn't want to say those things. The merchants ignored our request and would only take dwarven gold coins. The strange thing was, despite being completely unrelated to the whole ordeal, some big-shot nobleman came forth all of a sudden and managed to calm all these merchants down. I wonder what people would think when they see news like this. Well, this was Diablo's plan. He gathered a bunch of reporters for them to observe all of the details. This way our nation would be portrayed as the reasonable side while the merchants would appear as though they were all working towards some sort of a conspiracy. I agreed with his method. Since information was only useful when used correctly, as opposed to allowing people to fabricate stories about us, I'd hope that facts of the matter could be reported word for word from the start. That being said, it was thanks to Gazel and Elmija's advice that we were able to come up with such a strategy. Even Diablo said that I still have much to learn before expressing gratitude to them both. This time we were totally in their care. That's how it is. We have no need for you to do anything. Also, I have 100% trust in Murmiles, who you have looked down upon. I'm even willing to hand our nation's financial sector entirely to him to manage. He's a lot more useful than you. Duke Muse's face twisted out of humiliation. The merchants all looked desperate. These merchants brought the reporters here as insurance, yet now they had become their doom. I'll leave the rest to you. I will take care of everything now, Your Majesty Rimuru. Murmiles acted with extreme courtesy. As I passed him, I gave him a pat on the shoulder and whispered, "Be counting on you, Murmiles-kun." After which, I left the room with the executives. I thought I saw Murmiles-kun giving off a wry smile. Well, it wasn't really a physical one. And next, he switched to his elite look, unique to a merchant, and turned to Duke Muse, as well as glancing around the merchants. Surely Murmiles's prowess had also been observed at length by my executives. People shouldn't have any complaints now, even if I appointed Murmiles as the Minister of Finance. Then the transaction has been completed successfully, and our festival is officially over. Please follow me to a different venue. Murmiles's stately voice came out of the room. Now we could finally say that everything had concluded. We gathered in the night following the end of the Tempest Founding Festival. Gazel, Elmija, Yume's party, Fuse and even Yuki, Hinata and Masayuki got a seat as visitors. Since all of my executives had gathered as well, the room felt crowded. I didn't invite Milam and the other demon lords. If there were too many people, the conference could last for days. My only concern was Veldora. He was moping in the corner of the room, and he was bound to interject at some point. Probably along the lines of "no challenger came to fight me," etc. Ah, what a bunch of useless complaints. It's best that we don't complicate things further. Let's get the reflection conference going. First off, I want to say this to everyone. Thank you all for the hard work this time. I started by praising everyone and began the conference. The first one to speak was surprisingly, Benimaru. I was genuinely shocked just now. I didn't expect Rimuru-sama to punish those merchants like that. The executives nodded in agreement. Most of them probably thought that I would conclude the matter after the payment. But upon seeing my serious treatment towards them, everyone without exception looked surprised. Right. I didn't expect you to give such a severe punishment. Rigurd agreed with Benimaru. Gazel, who had been listening to our conversation, intriguingly asked me, "So? What was your verdict, Rimuru?" Having been asked, I retold the whole story. To have severed ties with them while mustering such resolve. Gazel said dumbfounded, after hearing the story. But he wasn't mad. Quite the opposite, as he actually agreed with my method. Hey, I think you did the right thing. An eye for an eye. That being said, have you considered what to do afterwards? I've really been outsmarted by Elmisia. What did she mean by that, Rimuru-sama? Since Benimaru asked, I had to express my view. It's like what I said before. I'm not gonna play to the council's score. If possible, I wish to be on equal and friendly terms with them. I understand that. That's why in my humble opinion, we need to make a certain level of compromise. I nodded to Rigurd and continued, listen well now. As Elmisia-san has said that Duke Muse was just someone else's lackey. We followed their rule and rejected Muse. That's why. Next time it will be his boss taking the lead in person. That is most likely the case. In other words, will we be able to negotiate with them once more? That's right. Since it was them that first failed in negotiating with us, when the opportunity arises, we can utilize our advantages in that regard to have better terms in negotiation. I see. In my opinion, they didn't want to antagonize us directly. That's why they wanted to put a collar on our neck by first befriending us. Now that they've failed, surely they will have to consider us an opponent to be reckoned with. In that case, surely they will come across us again if they intend to launch economic warfare. Neither of us is prepared well enough to able to do that. Therefore, both can form their own self-sustaining economic circle even without the opponent. That's most likely the case. Gazel continued to further elaborate. For now, things had concluded with our negotiation, and it would seem that we had the upper hand in the long run. In that case, we don't need to be restrained by the international charter set by the Western State Council, and will be able to take over different nations by ourselves. But this will not be a militaristic invasion, but rather an invasive act via economy. Kufufufu, leave it to me. I shall put all of the Western nations on a platter for Rimuru-sama. You don't have to. That's not what I wanted anyway. Diablo's comment was giving me a headache again. Diablo, if you do something like that, you will only make our life more difficult. Rejected. Apologies for my offense. Cut the crap, errand boy. Go fetch Rimuru-sama more tea now. Shien gave a finishing blow to the frustrated Diablo. She also made me upset, to be honest, but I'd give her a pass for now. I think what Diablo has just suggested may still be achievable given time. But right now, doing that serves no purpose. We may give it a try if conflict breaks out, but it will nonetheless be a lot of hard work. We just need to build a friendly relationship. Honestly, I don't want any more trouble to deal with. As I explained matters like that, everyone seemed to agree. We just had to try our best at making our own nation better. To create a firm economic circle on this land, that was our priority. Indeed, there's not really any other option than to negotiate with your opponent, but I'm actually pretty sympathetic towards them. They can't really restrain you with economic sanctions nor through military suppression. It'll really be hard for them to give any condition. Elmisia shed a crocodile tear for our opponent. But doesn't that logic apply to Sorcerer's Kingdom Sarian as well? However, she had a point. Now our opponents were limited in their methods of comeback. I see. I am aware of these already. But did Rimuru-sama have other plans as well to have treated those merchants so harshly? Geld asked. He thought that I was being too harsh. Not every merchant was Muse's lackey. Some were probably just pressured into doing it, having been blackmailed by Duke Muse. I smirked and was about to explain before Murmiles, who was all smiles, interjected first. Foo, that's very simple, everyone. Just as Emperor Elmesia said, we were simply giving them an eye for an eye. What does that mean, Miles? An eye for an eye? I still don't get it. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. And if you guys have not watched the previous parts, then please watch them. The links are in the description. And don't forget to like, subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.